everybody. I'd love to welcome you this morning. I'm very excited about today's program with Lillien on her Hungry Girls new book, Fast and Easy, All Natural Recipes in 30 Minutes or Less. I'm Randy Sadegor, the president of the Women of Washington Hebrew, and I'm thrilled to see everybody. We have people from near and far. Lisa's team is coming out from California for us. And so I wanted to just give a few announcements. We're going to use the chat room. If you want to ask a question, just put it in the chat. Usually we can raise our hand, but I don't think we have that capability today. So if you can just put in the chat question. And I now turn it over to our dear Sue Shankman, our rabbi, that has a few words for us today.
I'm so excited for today and that we have Lisa with us. And this is our this is the last of this series, New Year, New You. And because I don't like to say but, and we'll continue throughout the year to think about this series, and hopefully it's inspired each of us in different ways to think about the secular year that lies ahead, knowing that we have lots of opportunities to find holiness together. So when Randy and I were talking about our program today, I wanted to bring back something that we actually that I shared with you at our very first session of the series, because there's something so so primal in some ways in terms of thinking about how we nourish and nurture our bodies, and there's something very spiritual and holy about that as well. And that's really about the intention we bring to thinking about how we feed our bodies. It's also how we feed our souls. So I wanted to share, hopefully I can share this up here. I'm going to share a prayer that you can use before any prayer that you might choose to recite before eating. But this one is a reminder of all the different connections and everything that goes into just one bite of food, bringing it before us. So let's see if and now it's of course not coming up. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can share this with you. Okay, hold on. And if it doesn't work, I'll just read it, but there it is. It looks like it's there. Okay, this is a meditation for a mindful motzi, our blessing before we eat bread, but it's really about being mindful with everything that goes into our bodies and how we sustain not just our bodies, our health, but our souls as well. And this is written by Norman Fisher. As we make ready to eat this food, we remember with gratitude the people, animals, plants, insects, creatures of the sky and sea, air and water, fire and earth, all turning in the wheel of living and dying, whose joyful exertion, not separate from ours, provides our sustenance this day. May we, with the blessing of this food, join our hearts to the one heart of the world in awareness and love, and may we, together with everyone, realize the path of awakening and never stop making effort for the benefit of others. And I like to think of that not just as before we eat, but even the preparation of food can be a spiritual and holy experience. And I think today will be a wonderful way to make it even more so when we reduce the stress that sometimes goes into it and just enjoy the journey of getting to the food on the plate. So thank you for being here, and wishing you all the blessings of a healthy year that is filled with lots of moments of joy and love and blessing.
Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Before we move on, I wanted to thank Ellen Barth and Linda Newman for putting so much time and energy into this program and really putting together a very nice program. So I now turn it over to Linda Newman to introduce Lisa.
Well, I have to say, I am, like everyone else, I am really excited to introduce you to Lillien. She is a dynamic, incredible woman. I met her the other day and she's warm and lovely, and you're going to really enjoy today. I was awakened by Randy and told I was going to be giving this introduction, so I am totally unprepared. I, as for me, I am a fan of Hungry Girl, and I have been for years. My shelves are filled with her fabulous cookbooks, and I even own these. Can you see what I have here?
Oh, the recipe cards.
I have them. So in fact, I would like to share with you that Lisa is one of my best friends. That's a secret I'd like to tell you about today. She sends me daily emails full of common sense advice about diet and fitness with tasty, nutritionally balanced meals and snacks. She recommends to me ways to eat comfort foods, and don't we all love comfort foods, without a lot of guilt. She reminds me on my phone when she's on Facebook Live, which, by the way, I'm addicted to. And of course, we both love dogs, and we both love to eat. A bit about Lisa's bio is because it's very long, and I have pages that I printed out when I was preparing the publicity for this event. But I'm only going to touch on a bit, and I'm hoping that Lisa will fill us in with a lot of behind the scenes information. After graduating from college with a degree in communication, Lisa began her career as editor-in-chief, and if I say this wrong, please correct me, of Tutti Frutti. She was executive producer of TV Land, Nickelodeon, Online, and producer at Telepictures, and it goes on and on. But one day, Lisa decided to quit her job, and she'll have to tell us why. And she started the Hungry Girl brand in 2004. Obviously, I could say much more, but you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from our fabulous guest today, Lisa Lillien, AKA Hungry Girl. We have a lot of questions for you, Lisa. And would you please include in your talk a little bit about your background and what led you to develop the Hungry Girl brand?
Well, thank you for that fabulous introduction, Linda. I feel like we are best friends, and hopefully my annoying you is not too much when I'm on your phone and on your email and telling you to join Facebook, and you're okay with that. But thank you all for joining today. I am so thrilled to be here. I am super excited about Hungry Girl and about the new book. I mean, I can give you a little bit of background information on how and why I started Hungry Girl, which was back in 2004. So that is like forever ago in the world of the internet. And there was nothing out there. There were no blogs. Facebook didn't exist. There was no social media. It was just an open field. And I thought, well, you know, I love food so much, and I'm not a doctor or a dietitian. I have no degrees in anything related to food or health. I'm not a chef, but I thought I had very good ideas, and I was such a foodie, and I was the person that would stand next to you at the supermarket and say, I see you looking at that ice cream. This ice cream's better. You should try this one. Literally, I can't stop myself from being like a food gossip. So I thought it might be a cool idea to just share my ideas and my recipes and my food finds with the world via daily emails. And I started sending emails back in 2004, and it just grew via word of mouth. I had no marketing plan. I had no business plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. My dad thought I was crazy. My mom didn't understand what Hungry Girl was or could be. But just through a series of, you know, fortunate events and a lot of sharing and people that really wanted the content, it grew and grew. And now there are over 1 million people that read the daily emails. I have many, many cookbooks, a Hungry Girl magazine, a Hungry Girl podcast. I love running this brand. My favorite thing is connecting with people face to face and people who appreciate what we do at Hungryland. So this book I am extremely proud of. It is, I know it's a trivia question later, so I'm not going to tell you what book number it is, but it's far along in a line of Hungry Girl books. This one is called Fast and Easy. It's all natural recipes in 30 minutes or less. The concept being, now I'm not like a trend setter when it comes to food. I'm more of a trend follower. And everyone has been saying the same thing. Fast, easy, less than 30 minutes, few ingredients. So this book is, I would say, the easiest cookbook ever. I had a book called 1, 2, 3 back in the day, it was the easiest, most delicious recipes in the world, but I think this one's even faster and easier. It has a lay flat binding, so when you open it up to the recipe you want, it'll sit flat. There's tons of ideas. I love inspiring people, and ask away. I want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions before I get started with the recipe demo, please let me know.
I do have some pre-questions. What makes this book different than previous Hungry Girl books?
Well, one of the things is the lay flat binding, because I do hear from people all the time that they use their book so much that they're pushing it down, and they, the book sometimes, they're like, I used it so much it fell apart, or I have to bring it and make it spiral bound. So that's one thing. The early books did not have photos of every recipe, and this book does. And I know people really appreciate beautiful photography. So the photos are gorgeous, like they have been in the past, I'd say 3 or 4 books, maybe. And the 30-minute concept is definitely different, because I wanted to put together a grouping of recipes where no matter what you wanted, no matter what meal you're looking for, what kind of snack, everything will be done so quickly. Like, there are, I don't know how many, but tons of recipes in this book that are made in 15 minutes or less, 20 minutes or less, 10-minute recipes, 5-minute recipes. So that's a little bit different. And I use a lot of meal starters and things that can help make your life easier and faster and just more efficient in the kitchen.
And do you have a favorite recipe from this book?
In this book, it's funny because I was looking at the copy and it was like, this may be one of my favorite recipes in the book, this Asian barbecue salmon that I'm making today. And it is. It's great because it's so fast and so delicious. I've been favoring lately the cucumber subs, because I love to make sandwiches using cucumbers instead of bread, or pickles even instead of bread, because I love sandwiches, but I'm not really a carb person. I try very hard to not overdo it on starchy carbs. So I'm definitely a fan of the cucumber subs. And it's like all the recipes are like my children. So it's very hard to say that I have, a favorite.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about where this idea came from and how you started and how it grew into this huge commodity?
Well, I mean, the idea came, like, as I was saying a little bit earlier, I loved my job. My last job that I had that was a full-time job was at Warner Brothers, and I was overseeing a lot of their new media content. But I always sort of felt very entrepreneurial. Working in a corporation, I was the person that tried to do everybody's job. I would go sit down with the attorney and say, well, here's why we could do this, and here's our legal loophole, and blah, blah, blah. And I would try to write the press releases for the PR team. And I always wanted to do it all. So I had this desire to run a business. And when the idea just came into my head, I thought it would be so helpful. I just couldn't get it out of my brain. And that's what really inspired me. I thought the world needed this. And again, there were no blogs or bloggers, so nothing like this had existed. And I thought it was a new and different idea. Back then it was.
And what is your relationship with Weight Watchers? We've noticed online that there's information on there.
Well, a lot of are any of you guys following Weight Watchers in this audience? I wish I could see hand raises, but
You can put. Do you have Valerie gallery view on?
I do, but I'm like, now it's somehow focused on me, but it's okay. I could remove.
Oh no, up at the top, and you hit view.
Okay. Oh, now I I see a giant picture of Linda. But you look great, Linda. Hold on, all right, it's back on. I'm gonna put it back on. I love your fancy background, by the way. You look like you're floating. Gallery view. Weight Watchers, we partnered with them a while back, and we have a very friendly relationship with them. I know a lot of my subscribers and Hungry Girl fans are following Weight Watchers. I like to give the points values. I like to stay current. I have a lot of Weight Watchers coaches, they used to be called leaders, coaches that are friends of mine and follow along with the bouncing ball of Hungry Girls, so to speak. They allow us to put the points values online, and we just have a very friendly relationship, but no official partnership with them at all.
So that brings us to our first trivia question. If you know what number book Fast and Easy, Hungry Girls Fast and Easy, all natural recipes in 30 minutes or less is, please put it in the chat.
I'm going to show some of the things that you might win. You could win this lovely, I'm showing you my best Vanna White. Is that who does this? No, I would be turning probably. Maybe Carol Merrill. That'll really date us. This is a Hungry Girl dish towel. We've got a Hungry Girl cap, some measuring spoons. There's a lot. There's like tote bags. I think we even have a set of those recipe cards that Linda had. So
Right.
tell us of Linda's recipe cards. You might win a set.
Okay. So the first prize we're going to offer is, and since nobody put in the chat, we're going to do something different. We're going to do.
We're going to spin a wheel?
Can everyone see that? Can you see the wheel?
I see the wheel.
Okay, let's see who the winner is.
Bankrupt. No.
Ellen Rosenblum. Very good. Okay.
That wheel is really adorable.
Thank you. All right. Let me unshare. Okay. And here we are back.
Randy, you have to tell them the answer.
Oh, this is Lisa's 14th book. 14th book. So very good job.
Thank you. So should I jump in and make the salmon? What do you think? Is anyone hungry?
I think that would be a great idea.
Okay. Does anybody have the ingredients to make it along with me? Yes. Good job.
Oh, good.
Lisa, did you feel obligated to do this because your name is Lisa? Probably. I'm going to start. This recipe is so fast and it is so incredibly delicious. And of course it's easy because that's the title of the book. I'm going to start by taking a baking sheet and just spraying it with a little nonstick spray. And now I'm going to make the sauce for the salmon. Lisa, are you making this along with me now or are you going to make it later?
I'm going to make it later because I'm not a great cook and I think I better watch what you're doing so that I can replicate it.
Okay, that sounds fair. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. I like to find barbecue sauce that has 45 calories or less a serving, and it's easy enough to find. It's pretty common, but if you don't have it, you could use any barbecue sauce you have. Do you guys have Trader Joe's near you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
new organic Kansas City style barbecue sauce from Trader Joe's is my absolute favorite these days. It's out of this world. So that is what I'm using. And I'm using a sweet Asian chili sauce. It's a sweet
We
Asian.
actually have a few questions about the chili sauce.
Okay.
For people that have reflux issues and don't want the spicy, is there something they can replace it with?
Well, the thing is, this is sweet chili sauce, which really is more like duck sauce. And it's not really spicy, but if you want to just use straight up duck sauce, I know you guys are like East Coast, kind of like duck sauce is more of a thing back there than it is here. Like Saucy Susan, like I used to go eating Saucy Susan, you could use that. And there's 1 tablespoon of that, just gonna mix it together. So this is an Asian barbecue sauce that could not be easier to make.
And where do you find the sweet chili sauce?
You find it in the aisle that has like Asian foods, where you'd find like the La Choy products and really any of the ethnic foods usually are in my supermarket or in the same place. So this is 2 4-ounce salmon fillets, and you just put them on your sprayed baking sheet. And now I've already pre-cut my vegetables because you don't need to see me chopping vegetables. These are zucchini coins. This is 1.5 cups of zucchini that I'm just gonna put around the baking sheet, and a half a cup of chopped onion, which will give it a lot of nice flavor. I think onion makes everything taste better, honestly. Onions are key, and you'll see onions in so many of these recipes. And some chopped bell pepper, a half a cup of that. I'm using red. You could use any color. You can honestly use whatever vegetables you like in this recipe. I hope that a lot of my recipes just inspire you to be creative. And if you don't have these exact ingredients, the recipes are very forgiving. You can just substitute whatever you have. Now, not whatever, but within reason. Like I wouldn't put oatmeal in this recipe. All right, I'm gonna season up the salmon now with just a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder. So it's a 1/4 teaspoon of each. This will give it some nice flavor. And again, these are just spices that everybody pretty much has in their house. This is Spice Island garlic powder, which is my favorite. So put a little bit of onion and garlic, and then about 1/8 of salt and pepper. And we're gonna put another 1/8 of salt and pepper on the veggies. And just a tiny bit of olive oil. That's the thing. Most of my recipes, I don't really use a lot of oil at all, but a little bit goes a long way. So only 2 teaspoons of olive oil in this is going to help with the richness of the veggies and give it a little more flavor and also help it not stick. And there it is. Okay, now, normally at this point in the recipe, I would be taking this and putting it in the oven for 7 minutes. And after 7 minutes, I would take it out and move the veggies around and then put the sauce on the salmon and cook it for another 7 minutes. Because I don't want it to do any of those shenanigans today, I am just gonna put the sauce and put it in the oven for 14 minutes and it'll be fine. Again, if I was bored at home and making this normally, that's what I would do. I'm gonna just put the sauce on now. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, we have a few questions. Can you show the chili sauce again, please, and the barbecue sauce?
I will show both sauces. By the way, my oven has been preheated probably since 6 a.m. my time to 375 degrees. So that's the temp.
Great.
And so I think this is a new product, but it's TJ's Organic Kansas City barbecue sauce. And I think it has 45 calories. Yep, for 2 tablespoons, which is great. It's very sweet. Kansas City style barbecue is sweet, and I love it. This is definitely a sweet recipe. And this is just a Kroger sweet chili sauce. But anything that says duck sauce or sweet Asian chili sauce is totally fine. And I don't think you should be scared about this being spicy because it's not. Gina, I know, is in the audience and hates spicy food. And you love this sauce, right? She's saying yes, she's muted. She's jumping up and down. All right. Any other questions before I throw this in my oven?
We do have one question no, go ahead and throw it in the oven. And the question was, can we get a recorded video? Yes, Lisa has been so kind and is allowing us to record this today. So we will add a link for you.
Pretty, right?
That's beautiful.
Only 14 minutes. And I'll show you. I made one yesterday. I'm going to take it out and show you what it looks like, which basically looks exactly like this, but hold on.
I put something in the chat about preheating. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm about to ask.
Is preheating necessary? I think it's wasteful. I rather cook it a little longer on both ends.
Lisa, if you weren't preheated and you just cooked, what would the temperature be and how long would you do it for?
I always preheat the oven. Because salmon, honestly, we have it down to a science. 14 minutes, your salmon's gonna be 145 degrees, which is the temperature I like the salmon to be, and it's the perfect texture. So I don't like to mess with that. And I don't know, having not tested it, I'd be afraid to say, oh yeah, you could just cook it at this temp for this time.
So I guess
temperature
Linda, you would have to just kind of play with it yourself.
Right. What temperature did you set it at? I forgot what you said.
375. By the way, see, it looks exactly like the one I put in, except the salmon is not
Gorgeous.
raw. It's beautiful. This is going
It's
to be my
gorgeous.
breakfast. And it's
Great.
2 servings, 308 calories a serving. It's loaded with omega-3s. Salmon is super healthy. Again, people are gonna think you slaved in your kitchen for hours. Your family will be so impressed, or you'll just impress yourself, because it couldn't be faster or easier. But you would never know it when you taste it. You'll blow everyone away. I promise.
I've had a few questions about the air fryer. So, Lisa, have you used an air fryer with any of these recipes?
We don't have air fryer instructions within this book for these recipes. I do have a lot of air fryer recipes. I personally use an air fryer all the time. Like, I love the air fryer. I wouldn't be able to give you the exact times and temps. I'd say it would cook pretty quickly, but I don't have a whole lot of experience making this recipe in the air fryer. But do you guys all have air fryers? They're the great.
I do, but my daughter took it.
I'm sorry. Is she here today? I'm gonna tell her to give it back to you.
No, she's working. She's a teacher.
If she's not home now, you should just go take it.
She lives in a DC.
Oh, all right.
One day I will.
I'm out of ideas.
Okay. What about convection? Have you ever used convection? Or that's just not something?
It's not something like we give specific instructions for. I have a convection oven here, and things tend to cook a little bit faster in that, but I mean, you could make adjustments accordingly. I'm sure there's a lot of information online where if it says something cooks for this long at this temp, here's how to adjust it. But I definitely don't have all those answers.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process of coming up with a recipe and taste testing?
Sure.
Like from beginning to end.
Okay, so recipe development works a few ways, but it's always pretty sort of consistent in that I've got a great team of people. The ideas either come from me, or we have brainstorm sessions and we have ideas for recipes. A lot of times we're following trends. Like if we see something that is like really hot online or in a restaurant, or something that was just released, we'll say we could redo it. Or Hungry Girl subscribers, readers will email in and inspire us. And so once we decide what recipe we're going to make, it's developed on paper. We go back and forth, make some tweaks. And once it's ready to go into the kitchen for taste testing, that's the exciting part. It goes into the kitchen and we taste and tweak and taste and tweak. Sometimes it's a home run out of the gate. Sometimes you just make some changes. Very rarely do I throw a recipe away. I hate failing, so I'm always trying to like do and redo until it's perfect. And once it's perfected, it's tested, I'd say 2 more times just for clarity and to make sure everything actually works and it makes sense. And then everything goes to the nutritional team and they figure out the stats for every recipe. We use various nutritional databases to help figure out how many calories, fat, grams, sodium, sugars, fat, etc., fiber is in every recipe.
How many people are on your team and what are their positions?
It's funny because of the lockdown and the pandemic, we're mostly working from home, but there's probably 12 people or 13 people in all. Normally there, I think, are 9 of us at Hungryland these days. Not so much. There's like 3 of us that circle in and out. But we have some recipe development people. I have a kitchen manager. I've got like someone who works in food styling and photography. I've got a marketing manager right over there, Gina. She does marketing, special projects, and social media. I have a VP of content and strategy and all of that fun stuff. Am I forgetting anyone? A few editorial people that help edit and draft some of the copy. And my food stylist does a bunch of videos as well. We've got a bunch of people that have crossover roles because we're a lean team and we all wear a bunch of hats. But it's definitely a really fun place to work. Hungryland is very colorful and bright, has a lot of energy, and it's dog friendly. So I bring my dogs there. I encourage employees to bring dogs there.
That's amazing. That's really awesome. So, um, you try a lot of foods during the day and every day. How do you, what's your philosophy on weight management and health, and how has it changed over the years? And how are you able to try all of this food and still maintain your weight?
That's an excellent question. And a lot of people ask that question. So yes, I have to say, in addition to creating all the recipes that I have to try, we get food sent to us from every single food company out there, boxes and boxes and boxes. Please try this, please review it. And I do, I taste everything. To me, like, no food is off limits. I love everything. I don't have any food restrictions. Luckily, knock on wood, I have no food allergies. So I am a big foodie, but I have managed to maintain sort of self-control. I try to exercise a lot. So I move around. During this whole lockdown, I walk and walk. I walk probably almost 12 miles a day because I take my meetings on the phone. I don't like to sit. I just am constantly active. I live in California, so it's nice out. So I try to burn as many calories as I can because I love to eat so much. And then I don't overdo it. Like, if I'm tasting a recipe, I have a few bites. If someone sends a new chip or a snack, I have a few chips. For whatever reason, I've mastered the art of not sort of overindulging. Do I ever do that? Yes, it happens because I grew up, with a weight problem, with like a dieting mom, typical New York. She was on every diet under the sun. I was dieting when I was in junior high school. So I have those tendencies. I wish I could say I was just this person that could eat anything I want, but that's just not the case. So I have to be really mindful of it. And truthfully, it's why I started Hungry Girl to begin with, because I knew I didn't really appreciate the philosophy that people had of like being on a diet or off a diet. And when you're on a diet, you can't eat anything. And if you eat one M&M, you have screwed up, and start your diet next Monday or next month or next calendar year. That philosophy just doesn't fly, really. So I changed my eating habits to just find foods that satisfy me. That's why I'm big on swapping. I'll tell you all about the food swaps that I have that satisfy, that replace foods that normally, are super high calorie, that if you eat too many of them, they trigger you and you can gain weight. So I figured that out pretty early on. And I'm on camera a lot also. So I really would rather not gain 20 pounds. So that keeps me in check too. I want to be a fair representation of my brand. Like, I'm very conscious of, if I'm at a restaurant, I want somebody to, if there's a Hungry Girl fan there, and they're the first thing they're going to do is come look at my plate. That happens all the time. So if they happen to recognize me, which doesn't happen that often, but they're like, let's see what you're eating. Or if I go to dinner with somebody, they're like, I'm going to wait until Lisa orders, and then I'm going to order what she orders. And I try not to be judgy. And again, I do eat everything, but I believe in everything in moderation.
Thank you. Now it's time for trivia. So if you want to put it in the chat, go ahead. What year did Hungry Girl daily emails start?
You should know.
Wendy Kossman, very impressed. Wendy got it right.
Go Wendy. Wendy's paying attention.
Wendy, what about this box of Chew the Right Thing from Hungry Girl? And it's a box of recipe cards. Congratulations.
By the way, I have scallions here, which are optional in that recipe, and I highly recommend them. So I am going to chop these and put this on my salmon right before I eat it.
It does make it really pretty.
Scallions are beautiful and delicious. I think they make every entree taste better.
And let's try one more trivia. What 2 ingredients are in Hungry Girl Yum Yum Brownie Muffins?
That's probably the most clicked on recipe in the history of Hungry Girl. Believe it or not. And it's only 2 ingredients. It's so easy. It's very delicious. Hence the yum yum. That's not a misnomer. It is. They are yummy. Only 2 simple ingredients. Does anyone know? Oh yeah,
Okay, so
Wendy.
Lord Wise was the first one, and she said chocolate cake mix and applesauce.
Close.
And the second person was Wendy Kosman, pumpkin and cake mix.
Wendy.
Anyone else? We're going to go to the spinner.
This bit. Oh yeah, Eileen said the pumpkin and cake mix too.
Oh, sorry.
Woo, it's okay. I like spinning the wheel. The wheel matches my shirt. Look at this.
Exactly.
That was not intentional. I did not call the wheel early this morning.
Okay, and we have Tamara is our next winner. And you have won Hungry Girl. Can you see me? I don't even know. Hungry Girl Happy Hour.
That's great. By the way, that is a cocktail book. It came out a bunch of years ago, but it's one of my favorites. It's a very cute, small book filled with cocktails and party appetizers and things of that nature.
Did my share stop?
I still see the wheel. I'm
Oh.
still mesmerized by it.
Ah. I have lost my Zoom. Okay. One other question about the salmon. Did you have the salmon skin on or off?
The salmon skin is off. I like the skin off. I can still see the wheel. Am I the only one that can?
No, I got it. Thank you. Sorry.
Change my view. And not that I don't. I love the wheel. Don't get me wrong. I'm obsessed with the wheel. So the skin is off. I don't like salmon skin. I actually don't like seeing the whole fish. I don't want to see an eyeball sticking out. None of that.
Okay.
I don't want my food looking at me. I think.
Okay. Now we actually have an interesting question. In your smoothies, you often use protein powder. If
Yes.
you're on a protein diet, can you leave out the powder?
That's interesting. I think the short answer is yes. I don't know, like the recipe might have to be tweaked depending on what the recipe is and how much protein powder is in it. Sometimes I use like a full scoop. Sometimes it's just a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons. I might want to replace it, but I guess it depends on the recipe. Sure, you could leave the protein powder out because sometimes it's just a coffee drink. But if it's a vanilla shake, oh wait, that's my salmon's ready. I'm gonna go get it. If it's like a vanilla shake and the protein powder is super important to it because that's all that's in it, I wouldn't leave it out of that. But usually it's not a problem. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's perfect. This one cooked with the sauce the whole time and it looks perfect.
Oh, it looks gorgeous.
I would just throw some scallions on that and eat that. Now I have like salmon. I should just feed the neighborhood today.
We also have a question about when you make your happy hour drink, your frozen drinks, do you use xanthan gum in those?
Okay, so xanthan gum is a magic ingredient that I just really discovered and started using very recently. And I find that how I use it is when I make shakes and when I make coffee drinks, it'll make your drinks have the same texture as like a Starbucks drink. I don't use it in my cocktails. My cocktails, I'll show you the magic ingredient there. Hold on. Quiet, girl. Clearly, my dogs are very interested in having a happy hour right now. So I love to use, these are, I mean, embarrassingly, I wish I could take this computer around my kitchen. I have like 5 drawers filled with, these are sugar-free drink mix packets and all kinds of flavors. Jolly Rancher makes them, Crush makes them, the Pineapple Crush is like my favorite. Margaritaville makes, you know, margarita flavored and daiquiri flavored, and then there's peach and tea flavors. But these are like drink mix sticks that you can use for cocktails. And the combination of this with a lot of ice and the right amount of alcohol and water, it's very simple once you get it down. The best slushy drinks imaginable, and the calorie counts are always very reasonable. But I highly recommend you check these out. You can use these, you know, in unexpected ways. You can use these in yogurt if you have Greek yogurt, just to flavor up your yogurt. If you have the right flavors, you can use it in oatmeal. They're really unexpectedly helpful and delicious.
Gina, could you put that in the chat for us, please? The name of those?
Gina, yeah,
I'm sorry, Gina. Yeah.
yeah. So Gina
Okay.
put like the sugar-free drink mix packets. And by the way, I get them. You can get them on Amazon. Like I buy everything on Amazon. I am Amazon obsessed. I don't know if I'm the only one, but also like even the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, unexpectedly will have a lot of unique flavors of these, and they're totally fine and obviously inexpensive. So I recommend that too as a little tip.
Great. And now we have some questions about sugar and sodium. So sugar, do you have any sugar substitutes that are your favorites? And how do you control sodium?
So I do have favorite sugar substitutes these days. I love Swerve and I love Truvia. And Swerve, I believe, is monk fruit based, and Truvia is stevia based. So those are my go-tos. A lot of these don't contain those, but if you look carefully, like I think a brand called True Citrus, you can get with stevia. I try to avoid sucralose and Splenda as much as possible. Again, I have a tiny bit of it. I used to be one of those people that would put sweetener packets in everything, and I stopped because I really wanted to cut down use of it. But the most natural ones to me these days are Swerve and Truvia. And as far as sodium, you know, everything is loaded with sodium. And if you watch your sodium, there are tricks. You can buy low sodium everything these days. And even if you buy something that comes in a can, if you rinse it, you can rinse away some of the sodium. I am lucky that I don't have blood pressure issues. I don't have salt sensitivity in any way. So I don't avoid that, but there definitely are ways to cut down on sodium. And then I use a lot of Dash products like Mrs. Dash. They make tons of different products now, like marinades and seasonings and sauces that are just sodium free that have a ton of flavor. And so if you're really looking for flavor without adding sodium, you can use those.
Great. And I have a question for you. Do you have a favorite kitchen gadget?
Yeah, I have a few favorite kitchen gadgets. I'm going to show you one right now. This is my NutriBullet, and I would marry it if I could. If I wasn't already married, I'd marry the NutriBullet because it's the greatest. I use it almost as like a food processor. It's also like a blender. It's the best blender, and it couldn't be easier to use. So I use it for all my shakes, my smoothies. I use it for my coffee drinks. I use it to blend if I'm gonna. Sometimes I like to coat food with cereal. I will blend up the cereal in this. I don't really love using the food processor. It feels big and clunky. This to me, that's my MVP. But also, I really love the air fryer. Like the air fryer is great, and I use it all the time, especially for like my favorite thing is to make little like wontons and dumplings and egg rolls and things. I buy the egg roll wrappers or the wonton wrappers. They're very low in calories, and you just stuff them with anything and everything, and you pop those in the air fryer. And it really feels like you're being very decadent. It's like party food, and the air fryer makes everything crispy and amazing, and I don't even use any oil.
And now you must know what the next question is. What is your favorite air fryer?
You know, it's a good question. I have the Gourmia, Gourmia, and I'm not sure if they still make that one. They make so many amazing air fryers. Actually, the Skinny Taste. I don't know if I'm sure you guys know Skinny Taste, you know, Hungry Girl. She's great. Gina Hamalka, she made an air fryer that's fantastic as well. And that's one that I've bought as gifts for people, and everybody loves it. And we have one of those at the office. But if you go on Amazon, you can just look at the reviews, and I always buy everything on Amazon and I look at the reviews. I like to buy things that have as many reviews as possible. And then a little trick in case you don't, I mean, maybe I'm telling you what you know already, but if you see 1-star reviews and it's making you feel like maybe I don't want this product, just click on that 1 star and see what people are saying. Like sometimes they'll say like, the box was crushed, or it took 5 days instead of 3 days. And those 1-star reviews have nothing to do with the product. So it's still a good product. But I would check out what's on sale and what has good reviews on Amazon.
And I don't know if you've used convection versus air fryer. Are they different processes? Or do they do the same thing?
I think they're different. I don't know exactly how they're different, but I think they are different. And the air fryer, I think, cooks faster. But I've never compared the two.
Okay. And have you, by any chance, used a toaster air fryer?
No, but that sounds fun.
I know.
I've never seen
So-
one. I did see, you know what I saw the other day? This Gadget, and I was obsessed with it. And I'm like, I don't know why I need it, but it was like a breakfast station, and it had like a toaster oven, and on top of it was a skillet, and attached to it was a coffee maker, and it was like this big, and it was all 3 of those things in one. And I was like,
Wow.
if I lived in a smaller space that didn't have all those things, it's like the perfect product.
Great. And a lot of people are kind of giving their own thinking. So we have some good chat going on.
Oh, good.
And let's see, ready for our next question. Where is Hungryland located?
That's a good one.
If anybody knows the answer, put it in the chat.
I know where it is. Thank goodness I know where it is. Okay.
California. But can you get more specific, Eileen? Southern. Okay, we're gonna go to our spinny wheel.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here we go. Gertie Jackman is the winner.
Jackman. What did Gertie win?
Gertie has won the new cookbook.
Hi, puppy.
Very excited for you, Gertie. And one day you'll have all of us over and cook us a nice, fast meal.
Yeah, Gertie, that's a
It's healthy.
requirement.
I love that you won that. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
I wish I could hear people talking, but I think
Oh.
everyone's muted.
If you want to talk, let's just do it one at a time. You can unmute yourself.
Oh, someone wants to know about the next cookbook, I think, right? I see. That'll be, I'm working on some concepts. So if you guys have ideas, put them in the chat. But I'm thinking of doing one that really focuses on like the slow cooker, the instant pot, and the air fryer, like these gadgety ones with specific recipes for each one. If you like that idea, someone said great idea. Eileen said great idea.
Great
Thank
idea. Do you happen to have anything on low sugar?
There are a lot of the recipes now are low sugar, and I have a lot of favorite products. I'm always seeking out products that have low sugar. Like if you guys like chocolate, I'm going to show you my favorite. I have 2 brands that I'm obsessing over lately. Lily's, I'm talking about like the best tasting for baking. They're bars and chips, and they come in the best flavors ever. So this is pumpkin spice, which is a seasonal flavor, but they have white chocolate, they have chocolate mint, they have dark chocolate, they have, my favorite is the chocolate salted caramel. So Lily's low sugar chocolate, and JoJo's is another brand that makes great low sugar chocolate. I wish you could see this drawer filled with like 20 bags of Lily's chips. I use those in smoothies and things as well.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Interesting. Do you have a vegetarian cookbook?
Don't have a vegetarian cookbook, but believe it or not, so many of the recipes in this book are vegetarian. Like I'd say usually more than half of the recipes in the book are vegetarian, and they can easily be made vegan if you're just completely plant-based. And there's even a guide in this book for how to turn the vegetarian recipes vegan. And then the recipes that are not vegetarian, you could swap out the protein pretty easily. So you could, either just make more vegetables or add tofu, and there's a bunch of tofu recipes in this as well.
Great. Wendy Kosman, do you want to come out of mute and ask your question?
Yeah, I'm like a fan. I followed you since probably 2004, but I wonder two things. How has your feelings about nutrition, how are your thoughts on nutrition changed since you started? And also, I can imagine that your life has just been so different since you started. I wondered how you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, first of all, yes, it's a good question because my feelings on nutrition definitely have changed. When I started, everything was very, again, because I was following all the trends, everything was pretty diety back then, diet culture and fat-free Jell-O and fat-free Cool Whip and fake this and fake that. Now people are way more aware of the ingredients, and that's why we made the switch and all the cookbooks are all natural now. I live by the 80-20 rule, so it's not like I exclude anything. And yeah, would you ever see me eating a bite of a Twinkie? Absolutely. But for the most part, I try to eat pretty clean. I eat a lot of natural foods, whole foods. I stopped drinking diet soda. Years ago, I switched to Perrier. So I have changed. I've evolved over the years. And I also eat way more veggies. I don't eat a lot of starches. And as far as, what was the other question? Oh, my life.
I can imagine that so many doors must have opened. I wonder what your life is like now.
It's just busier, like I feel exactly the same. And I love that, like, I'll meet people I haven't seen in 20 years or people I even went to high school with. And I feel like I'm exactly the same as who I was, even though I'm just way busier. So it's just, I'm busy.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Robin Lightman, do you want to ask your question?
Sure. I have a perfect vision of you sitting in one of the big chairs on Shark Tank. Do you have any interest in that?
I would love that. Nothing would make me happier, honestly. I have that same vision of myself. I've never done anything about it, but I'll watch that show and I'll be like, no chance I'm investing in that. I'm absolutely investing in that. You need to ask these questions. That would be like my dream job, honestly.
I'm sure if you reached out to them, they would snap you up in a moment.
I don't know, but I did. I was part of for a natural products expo last year. I was one of the sharks for this contest with a bunch of female entrepreneurs, and that was so much fun. It was the same kind of thing. But thank you.
Great, thank you. And Laura Siegel?
Hi, I just wanted to ask, does the 30 minutes and less include like all the prep time for slicing veggies, chopping, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. The only thing it doesn't include is because we'll call for, a lot of the time we call for pre-cooked chicken. So you either have to get the pre-cooked chicken, like I buy mine a lot at Trader Joe's, or I pre-cook it myself and I just keep it frozen in the fridge. But it definitely includes all the prep time, because each recipe will say, 5-minute prep, 15 minutes cook, 5-minute prep, 20 minutes cook. So it's all spelled out. I feel like it's so helpful, all the guides in here, and they're all broken down, no cook, 15 minutes, 5 ingredients or less, 30 minutes or less. It's, I tried to really make it easy.
And Linda Newman?
I want to know how you pre-cook the chicken.
How you pre-cook the chicken?
Uh-huh.
You can
What's
cook
your favorite?
anywhere you would normally cook chicken. In fact, in the magazine and even I don't know if it's in this book. I don't think in this book, but in a lot of the books, it's like you can cook it in the oven, you can cook it on the skillet, you can make it in the Instant Pot, you can make it however you like. You could grill it. You can make it however you like to cook your chicken, and then keep it either sliced or just keep it in. I keep chicken breasts a lot of the time cooked and frozen. But I do love, I have to tell you, Trader Joe's pre-cooked chicken. They have a few different kinds that it's just phenomenal. Really fresh, really just delicious. Good stuff.
Great, thank you. And Karen Asman?
Hi, Lisa. I was wondering if you listed the Weight Watcher point values on your recipes. I'm a big Weight Watcher, and I know you have been and have promoted Weight Watcher throughout the years.
Yes. So all of the points values for the books are online. And so if you go to hungry-girl.com/fast and easy,
Mhm.
all the points values for all the recipes are there.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and Ellen Miller.
I was wondering about, are there gluten-free options or gluten-free recipes?
So many, 128. There are 128 gluten-free recipes in this book. There are over 150 in the book, but 128 of them have no gluten, which is interesting because I mean, I don't avoid gluten, but it just so happens that these recipes don't include gluten for the most part.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Linda Youngentop.
Yeah, back to the Shark Tank stream. Do you have a talent agent?
I don't currently have an agent. I have a manager. Should I tell him?
Oh, my daughter's an agent, so I was just wondering. It's a whole interesting world out there.
Oh, so yeah, like let's get on Shark Tank. Let's do it. The only thing I can't do is be on Dancing with the Stars. I'm not saying, believe me, there are plenty. I am not famous enough to be on Dancing with the Stars, although sometimes you're like, who's ever heard of that person? I just couldn't dance. I'd be a better shark than a dancer.
And Lisa Reiner.
Hi, I was wondering how can you let us join you on Facebook so we can get the additional recipes all the time, please?
So if you just go to facebook.com/hungrygirl, well, the additional recipes, you really should sign up for the daily emails. So if you go to hungry-girl.com, just sign up and you'll get recipes every week. But if you want to follow on Facebook, there's a lot of interaction and there's a great community. Like the Facebook page itself has like over 1.5 million people, but then there's a community with like maybe 80,000 people where everyone is so helpful and everyone talks to each other and shares information. But also that's where I'll post, recipes of the day that are from the daily emails. And a lot of times I go live and I cook on Facebook. Like I'll be live on Facebook tonight making a recipe from this book. I'm making barbecue chicken nuggets tonight from the book on Facebook. And so that's fun. So you could definitely check me out on Facebook. I'm definitely very involved with the Facebook world.
Thank you.
Fantastic. We're going to put her email and Facebook on this chat box, but right now it's time to go back to our wheel. All right.
Spin it. Spin
Let's see. What's our next question? Back in the if everybody can put themselves on mute, I know a lot of us were asking questions. That would be great. Thank you. Back in the mid-2000s, what was the Hungry Girl classic pasta swap?
Oh, you guys have to be big fans to know that. Back in 2004, 5, 6. I see a lot of more recent ones. I see some answers.
Jennifer Levy. All right. And you have won the Hungry Girl hat. That's great.
Here it is now. It's so cute.
Fantastic.
What was it? What was the?
You want me to say it? I'll say it. It was the Shirataki Noodles. Do you remember the tofu Shirataki?
Yeah, I said that.
It's like broke the internet back in 2005. They were made of tofu and yam flour, like 20 calories a serving, and everybody, they just like were all the rage. Some people didn't love the way they smelled. You had to rinse them well. They're still out and they're great, but now I use more probably spaghetti squash and zucchini noodles and things of that nature, cauliflower rice.
Great. We're running out of time, so I did want to see where we can, an email that we can send future questions to. If we can get that in the chat, that would be amazing. Lisa, we are a fundraising community for our synagogue, and this year our biggest fundraiser was canceled. So we've really been just trying to build community. And I think today's event definitely shows community for us. We would like to make a contribution in your honor. And we're wondering if you know one right now that you'd like to share, or if you want to think about it.
I think that is so sweet of you. I think I'd like to think about it. And I would also like to make a contribution to you as well. So offline, we'll both exchange information.
Okay, that's very, very sweet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, truly. I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
We have loved having you today. We have some really exciting events coming up. We're going to have a Hamentashen event with Chef Susan Barakas, and she's going to actually do more than Hamantash. She's going to show us other desserts and have stories about Purim that we can share with our family. We are also having an amazing evening with women in leadership and talking about Vashti and Esther and where they were and where we are now. We also have some other exciting events coming up. The Book of V we have on February 2nd. We hope that many of you can join us with the author. And now we're going to do our last spin. Sherry Burka, you have won these fabulous bags.
Oh, the tote bags?
The tote bags.
Those are so much fun. I have
Can
them
you
right-
see? You can't see mine, can you?
I can show you them in case people can't see them. It's three tote bags, 3 different sizes. They're good for like traveling and for toting things around like snacks.
Fantastic. Wow. So that was our event today, and thank you again. We loved having you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll see all you guys in person when things
I hope so. And great to see everyone today. I love the faces I'm seeing.
Lisa, you really inspired me. Thank you so much. I'm going to make your salmon dish right now when we get off Zoom. So thank you. I'm not a cook and I'm trying.
Thank you so much. I already just bought your cookbook. So.
Thank you guys so much. Loved seeing all of you, and stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank you.
You too. You too. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.